From South Carolina Public Radio, this is Who, What, When, an hour of history, games, and trivia. I'm Daniel Thompson.
And I'm Brandon Gray. Happy New Year, everyone. We're ringing in with this, our first episode of the year, and it's all about famous firsts.
Makes too much sense, Bran. Coming up this hour, we'll see how well you know the pioneering moves made by U.S. presidents, look back on the debut singles by famous musicians, and hear 3 stories about some firsts in history. 2 of these stories are true. One's completely made up. Can you guess which one is the lie?
I cannot. If you'd like to join in on the fun and play these games with us, all you got to do is give us a call, 803-470-6347. Again, that's 803-470-6347. Or you could send us an email. Maybe send out that first email of the new year. It's always a big deal. You can send that to whowhatwin@scpublicradio.org. You'll have a shot at taking home the title of the Who What Win Champion of the Week. But most importantly, you might win a very special trophy, and by trophy, I mean fanny pack.
Fanny pack's a big deal. First email of the year on January 4th, you're saying. Interesting. Bran, it is the first Who What Win of the year. We're so excited for what's in store for us this year. And thinking about first today, I want to know about your first love.
You talking Pizza Hut?
I am. What about the stuffed crust, though?
Amazing.
Yeah. I mean,
Amazing.
The first time I had a stuffed crust, I was like, my life changed forever.
I want to know this. Well, who came up with it?
Dude,
And how?
cheese in the crust of a pizza. I don't know what, like, they out-pizzaed the Hut. Maybe
that's
could be it.
Whole ball game there.
This has been a really nice walk down memory lane, Bran. I love the pizza talk.
I'm hungry.
How about we get to our first game today of the new year?
I see what you did there. That's a great idea. Again, if you want to be a contestant on Who What When, all you got to do is give us a call. That's 803-470-6347. Or send us an email to whowhatwin@scpublicradio.org.
We've got some contestants on the line right now. Caller number 1, tell us your name and where you're from.
Gina, and I'm from Columbia.
Caller number 2, what's your name? Where are you from?
How are you? My name is Henry. I am from the great state of New Jersey, but now living in Columbia, South Carolina.
Henry, how many packs do you smoke a day?
Oh, how many fanny packs do I smoke?
That's right. There you go. You're thinking. You're thinking.
I am absolutely more likely to smoke a fanny pack, theoretical or otherwise, than a cigarette.
What's the thing that South Carolina just doesn't do as well as New Jersey?
Usually I cannot scratch. I can't scratch the bagel itch.
Fair.
I can get away with the pizza. There's a couple good options.
Stuffed crust, Pizza Hut.
But I simply can't get a decent breakfast sandwich.
Yeah. Most times when I ask that question, anyone from New Jersey, their answer involves bread. Some sort of, whether it's a hoagie or a bagel or a pizza, it involves dough or bread.
Yes. Love the bread.
Yes. 2 very great contestants here on Who What When. We're talking about first. The first game we're going to play in this first episode is Presidential First. And these are very quick, Bran. There's not a lot of clues here. This is just if you know your presidents, and we're going to go real quick. We're going to alternate between Gina and Henry, back and forth. We're going to keep a little score, and we're going to see what happens before we move on to our next round. Sound like a plan?
It sounds like a great plan. Gina, how comfortable are you with your presidential knowledge? You think you're going to do well in this?
I'm about 50-50. It depends. We'll just see. I don't know. I'm not a presidential expert. I'll say that.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I think you're our first contestant, so Dan, take it away.
All right, Gina, the first president to live in the White House. Was it A, George Washington, B, John Adams, or C, Thomas Jefferson?
I'm going to say Thomas Jefferson.
She's going to say Thomas Jefferson, and she is incorrect.
Right.
What a good guess, though. We're looking for John Adams. John Adams.
Yes.
Alexander Hamilton bargains to get the financial system he wants, to move the capital down to Washington, D.C. All of that happens during George Washington's term, and then we move down to John Adams.
There you go.
Second
So
president.
that's
Song about that, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, Alexander Hamilton. You may have heard a song or two about him.
Alexander Hamilton got the White House,
That's as good as your Pizza Hut jingle, if nothing else. All right, not on the board yet. We're moving to Henry. Henry, the first and only president elected more than twice to the Oval Office. Was it A, Harry Truman, B, Franklin Roosevelt, or C, Richard Nixon?
That would be Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Oh, you can tell this guy knows his
all
stuff.
right, middle name, Henry.
Yeah, New Yorker Franklin Roosevelt. That's exactly right.
He got it right.
He did. He's on the board with one.
Great
Brand.
job, Henry.
Would you have known either of these?
I would have known John Adams. I don't know if I would have. I should have known number 2. But
Way to make Gina feel terrible. That's an excellent job
Thanks.
there.
Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
really good.
You're welcome, Gina.
Gina, you want to give that another? You want to give that another crack at it, Slugger? You want to try again?
You know what? I don't.
It's a two-syllable name,
Yes.
Gina. Genia. You're a genius.
That's what I was going for. That's what I was going for, Gina.
All right, Gina, the board is now yours. Your next question here on Presidential First. The first president to speak Indonesian. Is it A, Richard Nixon, B, Barack Obama, C, Ronald Reagan?
All right, Gina. Let's think it through.
Indonesian. Gosh, surely it wasn't Ronald Reagan. Obama?
Obama is correct.
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
Can you imagine if on the Nixon tapes he's just speaking Indonesian?
Oh, that
Yeah,
would be great.
I-
I'm not a crook. And then he would go to Indonesian, of course.
He does it both ways.
Yeah. And to be fair, Obama lived there from ages 6 to 10. That's where he learned to speak it. There's your fun fact. Of course, Richard Nixon and Ronald Reagan don't speak Indonesian.
Would have loved to see them try.
Would have
though.
been fun. Would have been fun. All right, Henry, the board is back to you. It's tied up. The first president to die in office. First president to die in office. Is it A, William Henry Harrison, B, Zachary Taylor, C, Abraham Lincoln?
That would be A, William Henry Harrison.
He knows his stuff. He knows his
Henry's middle name or otherwise.
He is correct. Brandon, did you know this one?
I did not know this one, and I was just thinking about where I would like to die. And I will say this, and I know we talk about this a lot.
With a stuffed crust pizza.
I would like to die with a stuffed crust pizza, but I would only like to die in a small town.
In a small, I was born in a small town.
I know you were.
I have nothing against a big town.
No.
There's no doubt about it. William Henry Harrison, only president for about 30 days, Brand. He wins
That's
the
a tough
election.
break.
He gives a speech out in the freezing cold, his inaugural speech, gets sick, and Bob's your uncle.
Well, the
There
good
you
news
go.
is
It's
we
done.
still do that event outside.
That's right. Yes.
In January. So it's definitely never going to happen again.
No, we're not with modern medicine. Of
I
course
love that they did that and they said we can't make any changes. Our hands are tied.
That's it. You have to do this outside.
You have to do it outside
We
no
can't.
matter.
No.
Oh, it's snowing?
Yes.
Sorry.
Yep.
Tough
Get
break.
out there. Especially when a cold could kill you. That
Yes.
seems like it's...
Yeah.
All right. Gina, you're down 2-1, but the board is yours. Here we go. Presidential first. Who, what, when? South Carolina Public Radio. Your question. The first president to receive more than 80 million votes in an election. Was that Ronald Reagan, Barack Obama, or Joe Biden?
Oh,
I know.
maybe. Gosh, I really want to go back to Obama again. I don't know. I'm going to say, I guess Ronald Reagan.
She's going to go with Ronald Reagan. It's a good guess. It's incorrect. Incorrect.
Who was it?
We're looking for Joe Biden.
Allegedly.
Who was it?
Alleg-
Gina's on pins and needles. I'm going to give you the answer, Gina. I promise. We're looking for Joe Biden, first
Again,
presidential candidate.
allegedly. We have to
in
say that.
20. We don't have to
Okay,
say that.
sorry.
We're not going to say it. In 2020, Joe Biden received 80 million votes
Allegedly.
for president. No. Stop saying that.
I've what?
The fairest on record. Don't say it again. 80 million votes.
Allegedly.
All right. Henry, you have a chance to really break this thing open. It's 2-1.
Here we go, Henry.
Presidential first. You ready?
Ready.
The first president to win the Nobel Peace Prize. A, Teddy Roosevelt. B, Jimmy Carter. C, Barack Obama.
I have to. I believe I was alive for this. I think this also was Barack Obama. I know we're talking a lot about it this morning, but I have this gut feeling that it's Barack Obama.
Wouldn't it be cool if I made a quiz where every answer was Barack Obama? It would be awesome. But that is incorrect. Unfortunately, we're looking for Teddy Roosevelt.
Wow.
Who negotiates the end of the Russo-Japanese War, which you're
Right.
very familiar in a
Yes.
treaty. I believe, and I could be mistaken, the Treaty of Portsmouth is, I believe, the treaty that
Okay.
we're looking for. So Teddy Roosevelt, the first Nobel Peace Prize winner that is also president.
I
But
mean, I
all-
guess that's a good reason.
yeah, but all three of those folks did win the Peace Prize.
Okay, so
Yes.
you were
Yes.
correct in remembering that Obama did
win one, so did Jimmy Carter, but Roosevelt did it first. All right, it's still 2-1. We're back to Gina.
All right, Gina.
Gina, a chance to tie this up. The first president to be impeached. To be impeached. Is it A, Donald Trump, B, Richard Nixon, C, Andrew Johnson?
Ooh, I'm going to go with C, Andrew Johnson.
C. Andrew Johnson is correct. Gina has tied it up.
Wow.
You know, I went to Andrew Jackson Middle School in Florida.
It's different than Johnson, right?
it.
Also, Donald Trump impeached twice. Andrew Johnson impeached. Richard Nixon actually not ever impeached.
How about that?
Resigned from office before it could happen.
Talked his way out of it in Indonesian.
Yeah, that's right. In Indonesian, they couldn't. They were just like, I guess
Our hands are tied.
he's good. He couldn't be a crook.
Yeah, our hands are tied.
Henry, it's tied. The board is back to you. Presidential first here on Who, What, When on South Carolina Public Radio. Your question: the first president to be president that served in both World War I and World War II. Is it A, John F. Kennedy, B, Dwight D. Eisenhower, C, Lyndon B. Johnson?
And I do believe the answer is Dwight D. Eisenhower.
Dwight D. Eisenhower is correct. Absolutely led our troops into D-Day, in fact, in World War II, but also fought in World War I. Kennedy way too young for that, but Eisenhower is correct. And now you've got the lead. You got the lead. You're up
back.
3-2.
He's back, everybody.
You got to feel good about that.
Good.
Gina, the board is now yours with a chance to tie it. Here we go. First Roman Catholic president of the United States. A, Joe Biden. B, John F. Kennedy. C, Chester Arthur.
I think I'm going to have to go with JFK.
JFK is your guess, and that is correct.
We've got ourselves a competition.
We got ourselves a real
Dana.
barn burner here. This is like, there's one stuffed crust pizza and only one of them's going to get it. But it's better. It's a fanny pack that you could also stuff with cheese.
You could. There's literally
yes.
nothing stopping you from stuffing it with cheese. It's the American dream,
It's
I
the
believe.
American dream. It's 3-3. So we're living on the threes right now. Henry, your question. The first president to live to the age of 100 after leaving the White House.
Wow.
A, Richard Nixon. B, Jimmy Carter. C, George H.W. Bush.
Well, I have a feeling because he's mysteriously in the news, but he's still with us. I think, if memory serves, they did state that he is over 100 years old. I'm going to go with Jimmy Carter.
He's going to go with Jimmy Carter, and he's going to be correct. That is right. At time of this recording, he's still with us, and he turned 100 on October 1st, 2024.
How about that?
He's an absolute saint. God bless you, Jimmy Carter, and that is right. And Henry has taken the lead.
Do you want to live to 100?
Yeah, man, you don't. You don't want any part of that.
No.
Yeah. As long I just want to keep moving, keep going.
You just want to be shouted out on the Smucker's jar on the Today Show.
It's all about the Smuckers for me.
It's all about
I'm
the
the Smuckers boy.
You know that.
Yes.
I know that.
Yeah, I do
Everyone
know
knows that.
Everyone knows that.
Big
Here we
Smuckers.
go, Gina, your last question of the category. The first president to have his inauguration streamed on the internet.
Wow.
Streamed on the internet. Are we looking for A, Bill Clinton, B, George W. Bush, or C, Barack Obama?
He's our guy.
Oh, wait. I'm trying to think about the internet.
Let's
That's a
think
good
about
start.
it.
That's a good start.
Let's think about the internet.
I'm thinking about the internet. And is George W. the old one or the young one? The young one. I'm going to say George W.
Can I tell you this? In writing these questions, George W. would have been the one that I got wrong as well. George W. Bush makes a lot of sense. It's actually Bill Clinton.
That's surprising to
Actually,
me.
Bill Clinton
No
did.
way.
Yes. Yeah. So
Nobody was able to stream it, but maybe it had.
Yes, but 1997, his inauguration was
crazy.
streamed on the internet.
That's crazy.
Which is wild to think of because I had an AOL disc with 30 hours on it.
Yeah.
Like
No-
I had
There's no
Prodigy.
way anybody had the speeds necessary to watch it. There's no way. I don't believe it.
No. But it was there.
It was
that was
there.
a little
We
bit of
did
a
it.
tricky one.
We did it.
The last question of the category, he's up 4-3, Bran. A lot riding on this. The first president of the United States to be born a U.S. citizen.
Huh.
Born a U.S. citizen. This is the hardest question on the
Probably
board.
in a small town.
He's nothing against the big town. Is it A, John Quincy Adams? Is it B, Andrew Jackson?
Middle school.
Or C, Martin Van Buren?
I don't feel good about Quincy Adams.
No one
There was
does.
a time when I knew the whole list. I committed it to memory. It's gone now. I'm going to go C on this one, Van Buren.
He's going to go see Martin Van Buren, and he is going to be correct.
Wow.
What a pull.
Henry, where'd you pull that from? Was it a guess or did you have an idea?
It's based on just, again, I used to know the order, like, by heart. I don't know why. It was just something that was important to me. And Quincy Adams was, in my mind, too early.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what was the one.
So both John Quincy Adams and Andrew Jackson were born British citizens. Andrew Jackson fought in the Revolutionary War. He was old hickory. He was old. Yeah. John Quincy Adams, son of John Adams, still born before we declared our independence. Martin Van Buren, though, an American citizen from the
How
start.
about that?
You're listening to Who, What, When, an hour of history, games, and trivia from South Carolina Public Radio. I'm Daniel Thompson.
And I'm Brandon Gray. We're talking first on this first episode of the show for the new year. Our contestants, Gina and Henry, they are off to a roaring start, and we can't wait to see how they do in our next game.
Coming up after this break, we'll test their knowledge of debut singles from some of the biggest names in music.
That's next, here on Who, What, When.
Welcome back to Who, What, When, South Carolina Public Radio's hour of history, games, and trivia. I'm Daniel Thompson here with my good buddy Brandon Gray, and this week we're playing games about famous firsts.
That's right, and we're going to get back to those games in a moment, but first a reminder. We need contestants for this program. All you got to do is you got to give us a call, 803-470-6347, or you can send us an email if you'd rather to whowhatwhen@scpublicradio.org. You might get a chance to take part in these quizzes, get a potential to win the Who, What, When Champion of the Week, but also win one of those amazing Who, What, When fanny packs.
You got it, Brain. It's such a fun time, and we've got our contestants Henry and Gina still on the line with us from our first segment, and it's a fantastic competition so far.
I think what's important to know, Dan, as we head into the second segment, is that it is still anybody's game. Is Henry up by 2? Yes, but we know, Dan, we've been doing this long enough to know that that's not nothing.
Yeah.
That's anybody can come back 2 down.
It can go the other way in a hurry in this game, especially when you can shift gears from first to fifth like we do between presidents and musical artists around here.
In this case, it's first to first, though. Am I right, Dan?
Am I right? You sure are right. We are playing a little game called The First Cut is the Deepest. That's what it's called. I just wanted to sing it.
I know.
I don't even know if that was her first single, but what I do know is we're going to be asking our contestants questions about famous debut musical singles. So these bands may have had bigger hits, or they may have had no other hits. Either way, this is about the first single they released under a major studio. That is what these are about, and I'm excited to get to it. We have Gina from Columbia, Henry from New Jersey, who's now in Columbia, and we'll forgive him. We have these two playing against each other. Gina, first question is going to be yours again. How are you feeling about this in comparison to Presidents?
I feel like I should know more because it's more recent.
All right, here we go. Are we ready to play First Cut is the Deepest?
I'm ready.
All right, Gina, here's your question. Billy Ray Cyrus's first single was only possibly eclipsed by his collaboration with Lil Nas X on Old Town Road and Hannah Montana, obviously. But don't tell that to his A, Loneliest Road, B, Mr. Mom, or C, Achy Breaky Heart.
I love Billy Ray, and it's totally Achy Breaky Heart.
It is.
What a jam.
It is totally Achy Breaky Heart. Can you imagine if he wrote Lone Star's Mr. Mom, though?
It would have been wonderful. But I got to be honest, I love how much more excited she was about that than any of the presidential questions. And you know what?
It's Same. Like in the first segment, we had to take some medicine. And now it's all good. It's all good.
Now we're good to go.
That's right. Exactly. All right. She's on the board there. It's 5-4. Henry, a chance to move back up by 2, get closer to that fanny pack. Your question here on The First Cut is the Deepest. Before she was talking about a revolution, Tracy Chapman wanted a ticket to anywhere in this debut single that received 2 Grammy nominations. Is it A, Lightning Boat, B, Fast Car, or C, Speedy Plane?
First of all, if we can harken back to the name of the segment, I would believe that the first Sheryl Crow big single would be All I Want to Do Is Have Some Fun.
Yes,
I think Henry might win this game.
Yeah,
I think that would be her first big single. But to answer the question at hand, it would be Fast Car.
I've got a lightning boat.
Dude, the fact that nobody bid on Speedy Plane there was just...
I mean, it's right there for the taking.
Speedy
and
plane.
No one...
You got a speedy plane.
Yeah.
Gonna fly me to anywhere.
See, you got it.
Yeah, it's just right there.
It's
yeah,
fast car.
Gina, I think you are in trouble based upon Henry's knowledge of music, but there's only one way to find out is to play the game. That's all I'm saying.
That's right.
Right? All right, we're playing the first cut as the deepest. It's Who What When at South Carolina Public Radio. Question number 3 for Gina. It's only fitting that a group called the Weather Girls had their first hit with this incredibly catchy early 80s pop anthem, arranged by Paul Schaefer and written by Paul Jabra. Is it A, It's Raining Men, B, Purple Rain, or C, Walking on Sunshine?
It's a raining man.
Oh, wow.
I love that
Yeah.
song. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. It's Raining Men. This is the wheelhouse. I can feel that Gina and Henry, that we found a little bit of a wheelhouse here, Bran.
Shout out to Paul Schaefer, though.
Shout out.
All right. Henry, Gina has moved one closer. You're only up by one. Your question here on the first cut is the deepest. Pop star Rihanna's first single wasn't her only song that was played again and again, but this tribute to her home of Barbados certainly put her on the map. A, Despacito, B, Pon de Replay, or C, Hips Don't Lie?
That would be Pon de Replay. Mr. DJ, won't you turn the music up?
Turn the music up, Mr. DJ.
All right, Henry.
Turn Mr. Henry's
All right.
score up 1. He's got 7.
What a tune.
What's there to talk about when you just know the answer right away?
Listen,
You know what I mean?
It's great. It's great
Yeah.
when we got smart competitors.
Smart competitors. All right. It's a perfect round so far. Moving over to Gina. Gina, your question to stay within striking distance. Rock stars Aerosmith have had 50 plus years of hits, but their first single, sampled by Eminem almost 30 years after its release, foreshadowed the legendary reality that came true for Steven Tyler and his bandmates. Is it A, Living on the Edge, B, Dream On, or C, Don't Want to Miss a Thing?
I'm going to say Living on the Edge.
She's going to say Living on the Edge.
Ugh.
She's incorrect.
Oh, she could
She could hear it. I'm sorry, Gina. Salt in the wound there.
She said living on the edge.
She's gonna say living on the edge. Oh boy.
Ugh.
Living on the
All right.
edge. We're looking for Dream On. I believe a 1973 single from Aerosmith, and they're still at it. All right, Henry, a chance to take a commanding lead here. A commanding lead. And I hate that you're getting this question. Can you tell me about a band with one hit? Can you tell me about a song that won't quit? A, Bam Bam. B, Rah Rah. C, Mbop.
Wow.
That would be Bop.
Mbop.
A melody that is just too infectious not to sing.
I left out the last line, which is, can you tell me, does Hanson's hit make any sense? Because my voice is starting to go, but you nailed it anyway.
You wouldn't have known if you hadn't said it.
You wouldn't
Your
have known.
voice sounded so good.
Thank you.
That was an
Like
angel voice.
That's right. Henry, you're correct again. That is Mbop by Hanson, their only hit. But tell me about how much you love Hanson now.
I love Hanson, and I gotta say, a lot of people have been saying a lot of things, but I always say bop dooba dop dop doob dop, and
Yes.
not enough people say that.
That's
and
right.
I think that it's just good to put that out in the beginning. That's exactly
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. And you are a Hanson stan.
I am.
They've made good music later on. The
They
Stanson.
have great Christmas albums for anybody who
That's right.
cares.
Plural.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes. You
One
heard
old
that
one, one
correctly.
newer one.
Yes. Gina, you pretty much have to get this one right. I don't want to put any pressure on you, but you pretty much have to get this one right here.
Okay.
Here we go. Alicia Keys' first single came out when she was only 20 years old
All right, Henry.
and established her as a mega talent that would produce a career that we stayed in love with. Is it A, Fallen, B, Girl on Fire, or C, I Ain't Got You?
Was Fallen?
Fallen is correct.
All bangers, by the way.
All bangers. Yeah. Henry,
I'm ready, baby.
here we go. In a span of 7 years, the Beatles had 64 songs on the top 100, including 20 number one hits. But the single that started it all for the Liverpool Quartet started a love fest with their fans that's lasted almost 60 years.
I kind of want to see if he can do it without the multiple choice. Henry's over here bragging.
Do you know it, Henry?
So you're looking for their first number one?
Their first single.
Do you want me to do it up the guess? I have a guess without
Do-
the choices.
I'm just intrigued at this point.
Give us a guess.
My gut would say that the very first signal was Love Me Do.
Love Me Do
He's
is
good.
correct.
He's good.
He's good.
He's good.
All right.
Poor
He's good.
Gina. Poor Gina didn't stand a chance.
Oh.
I knew it. I knew
Gina,
it.
get this one right so I can ask him this 10th question. Love Me Do is correct, yes. The other options were I Want to Hold Your Hand and Help, Yeah, Gina, speaking of help, here we go, Gina. Gina, she's probably the most famous singer on the planet. But after starting on MySpace and before taking over the world, Taylor Swift's feature debut was this country ballad. Is it A, Our Song, B, Tim McGraw, C, Love Story?
3 great songs.
Well, I agree to disagree.
Oh, Taylor. Love Story? No, I know that's not right. That's too late. What was the other one?
Our Song or Tim McGraw?
I'm going to say Our Song. I'm not familiar with early T Swift.
She's going to say Our Song, and she's going to be incorrect. We're looking for Tim McGraw, maybe Taylor Swift's worst song. Maybe. It's a terrible song.
You're out of order here.
Yeah. Give me those other 2 songs before.
Give
that
me
one.
early Taylor over late Taylor any day. What?
Wow.
What?
We're just.
You guys can email in anytime you want to.
All right, Henry. The last question is yours, Henry. Elvis Presley had almost 150 top 100 songs, including 18 number 1 hits. But his first single, while not his most famous, showcased his unique talents for blues country mashups. That's all I'm going to give you. A, That's All Right. B, Don't Be Cruel. C, All Shook Up.
My gut is telling me to go with the one that I'm least familiar with.
That's a good way to do it.
The other 2, you know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go with A.
He's going to go with A, That's All Right. He is correct once again.
He is all right in this segment.
game.
Wow.
Henry takes the game and takes both games to be moving on to our final round. Gina, what a competitor. Almost borderline unfair you ran into the buzzsaw of music history that's
tough, Gina.
Henry. But thanks for playing. Maybe thanks for coming on the show, and maybe there'll be some other way to store those cigarettes. We're really sorry.
Hey, listen. If I ever meet Gina one day, she sounds like a lovely woman. But if I ever meet her, she can keep her cigarettes in my fanny pack anytime.
We haven't won it yet, Henry, and I want to be very clear.
That's right, Henry. You got to win the next segment.
Too soon.
All right, he's getting cocky, folks.
Oh, my bad.
You're listening to Who What Wins, South Carolina Public Radio's Hour of History, Games, and Trivia. I'm Brandon Gray.
And I'm Daniel Thompson, and it's our first episode of the new year. So we're celebrating this hour with games all about famous firsts.
That's right, and our contestant Henry just beat out Gina to head into our final segment today and get a chance to take home the title of Who What Win Champion of the Week and maybe a fanny pack.
Even a fanny pack. We'll see if he can pull that off. That and more right after this break on Who What When. Welcome back to Who What When, South Carolina Public Radio's Hour of History, Games, and Trivia. I'm Daniel Thompson.
And I'm Brandon Gray. Happy New Year, everyone. We are celebrating our first episode of the year, and we're talking famous first today.
Yeah, we are.
And time. Okay, pretty good time, but I think we could do it better. Let's run it again, boys, from the top.
Run it again, boys. Who is this?
And from what top?
Who are we
what
talking
top?
up to? Excuse me. This is the prestigious game show, Who What When. It's in South Carolina Public Radio. We're kind of in the middle of some stuff. Who are you? Why are you just barging in like this?
You'll have to forgive me if I seem a little brusque. My name is Timothy Tybe. I'm the greatest stopwatch operator ever to live. Can time anything.
All right, Tim Tybe, you're going to have to put it in reverse and head on over out of the studio. We don't have time for this today.
Well, through my super timing powers, I could tell you guys were doing an episode on firsts. You need to know what happened first? I'm your man.
Super timing powers. What are we? Everybody can operate a stopwatch, right? What are we doing?
Super timing powers. Yeah, you got it. Yeah. You see, my mother was a space-time scientist. My father was a watchmaker. And I was born next to the Large Hadron Collider at the stroke of midnight, February 29th, year 2000. That's the leap year. So, yeah, there you go. Do I need to say anything else?
You need to say so much more or
Dan,
nothing at all.
I was skeptical.
Yeah.
What he just laid out for me makes perfect sense.
Does it?
I'm a believer in Tim Time.
Thank you, Brad. Now, we are wasting time. I've come to play a game with you called Which Came First? I'll offer you two seemingly disparate things, and you'll have to tell me which of them came first, of which I'm the ultimate judge, jury, executioner, not to be questioned. So,
we can't like push back on this at all.
you can if you want, but
Who
I
let
gotta
this
say,
guy in the studio?
thank you very much, Tim Time.
Tim Time.
So, if you are ready, we will get this underway.
All right, Tim Time. Show me what you got.
Okay, which came first, plywood or democracy? Talk amongst
Good.
yourselves.
Plywood or democracy? I can see what's happening here.
Yep.
We're not going to get any of these right.
I'm going plywood.
I think it's a trick question because you would think democracy, in Greece came before plywood,
Nope.
which is a wood designed specifically for building things, not just wood from trees. But you seem so confident.
It's plywood.
And I got to be honest, I don't know much about ancient history. I taught history for 20 years, almost all U.S. and modern history.
This is embarrassing.
It is embarrassing. My gut says democracy, but let's go plywood.
We're going wood.
Democracy, 500 BC under Cleisthenes, I believe.
Cleisthenes.
Thank you very much. Yes, I'm not a
You know
pronunciator.
Tim Time. You're not Tim
I'm
Talk.
I'm a timer. Plywood, 3,500 BC
Yeah.
Egyptian. So Bran,
Yeah,
he's
nice
got a
job.
gut for this.
He's
This is
got a
I
very
got a
gut.
good.
gut, and I know my plywood.
Plywood, yeah, you do.
Big, small,
Can't
and
ply you
different.
away from the wood. You know what I mean?
All right, number 2, sliced bread or the discovery of Pluto?
Ooh.
Oh my God, these are going to be hard. Sliced bread is like it's turn of the century. It's either late 1800s or early 1900s. I think
And it's the old saying. It's the best thing since sliced bread. Makes it seem like it was a long time
but it's like
ago.
in the 1920s or 30s. I'm pretty sure.
You think
Now,
so?
Pluto, that requires some crazy big telescope. I know when sliced bread was. My problem is I don't know when Pluto
That's
was.
the crux of this.
I'm gonna
Yes.
go. I'm gonna
is
go.
the point, yes.
Thank you, Tim. Time. You just take a few plays off, Tim.
Time is running out.
Let's go with sliced bread.
I'm going Pluto.
Well, then let's go Pluto. That's fine.
Oh,
Go
are we
Pluto.
going together?
It's a team against Tim Time, right?
Is that what we're doing, Tim?
It's up to you.
I don't want to be on his team.
Okay, then great. I'll go. What did you go with?
I'm going Pluto.
Let's go sliced bread.
Pluto, 1930s,
Yeah.
by telescope enthusiast who had been to college.
What was that?
He's an enthusiast.
He's an enthusiast.
He's an enthusiast.
No, that's
It
not how you
was
say that
originally
word.
called Planet X. From the enthusiast is from Flagstaff, Arizona. Clyde Tombaugh. Sliced bread, 1928.
Yes,
so
there it
sliced
is.
bread it is.
How
By
about
2
Tim-
years.
Yeah, I got you there finally. But also, how about Tim Time bringing us 2 random events in history that are mere years apart?
He's an
Yeah.
enthusiast. I don't
He's
know
an
what to tell you.
enthusiast.
I'm a
Yes.
time enthusiast.
Yes, you are. Yeah.
The sliced bread by Otto F. Rowetter. It was advertised as the greatest forward step in baking industry since bread was wrapped.
Wow.
Oh, man.
Love myself some rap bread.
What a day.
Yeah.
I got to be honest. A lot of people say, like, if you could go back in time, where would you go? I'd go back to when that happened.
Just sit in the corner and be like, you did it.
this is
Fly
a huge
on
day.
the wall for
You guys
for
might
wrapped
not know
bread.
this.
So much we can do with this.
What you just did.
Yeah.
Huge.
Okay, number 3, home pregnancy tests or the Heimlich maneuver.
Sheesh.
I got to be honest. I don't know.
Home pregnancy test seems like a 70s thing, 70s or 80s
Yeah, it was
thing.
wild back then.
Heimlich, just the name Heimlich seems older. I'm going to go Heimlich maneuver.
I actually agree with Dan on this one. I'm going
Yeah.
Heimlich.
Home pregnancy test, 1978.
Yeah.
Right on, Dan.
Heimlich maneuver, 1974.
Oh, we did it.
You did
Man,
it.
Tim Time is not here to play around.
No, he is not.
He's not here to play around. These are close, man. These are close.
Okay, next up. Number
Hey, Tim Time.
Yes.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Go.
Okay,
Stop.
number 4.
How much time was that?
That was 1.8 seconds.
Dang, he's good.
Man, he's good.
You can't get me.
He's
sorry.
He is locked down that
You
Tim
can't
Time.
get me. I live. Do you want to know a fact about me?
Sure.
I live in Big Ben in the Time Palace.
Wow.
Whoa.
Did they know that?
You live in the clock?
Yep.
They know that.
I work the NFL draft every year, timing the 40s.
Wow.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Okay, number 4. The term dinosaur or the concept of germs.
Did you say the term?
Yes.
Term dinosaur or the concept of germs, which is older,
You know,
which came first?
These 2 things, Bran, both seem like something that never were invented. They were just
These
they
are
always,
ideas.
Yes.
These are ideas.
They were invented.
So Robert Hooke discovers cells, I believe.
Right. And then who's the
Germs-
guy that wrote Jurassic Park?
Michael Crichton.
Yeah, so
But
Michael Crichton came up with dinosaur.
Michael Crichton came up with the
That's
term
my
dinosaur.
understanding, yes.
No.
He's like, how do I even put a name to these?
Yeah.
I'm
I think,
gonna
go ahead.
I'm gonna go with what came first here.
Yes.
I'm gonna go
That's
with
how this whole game. It's Tim time. I don't know
It's
if you've
which
heard.
came
Yep.
first.
Yep.
I'm going dinosaur.
I'm going dinosaur as well. I think that Germs is 1900s, and I think dinosaurs 1800s.
Germs, 1860, Louis Pasteur.
Pasteur.
Yep, germ theory. That's where it came from.
Uh-huh.
Term dinosaur, 1841.
Yeah, we did it.
Oh.
We did it.
Coined by Sir Richard Owen, is Greek for terrible lizard.
It's Greek for terrible lizard.
What they call those big bad boys before?
They thought they were just lizards of sorts.
lizards of sorts, and now they're big bad lizards.
So
Yes.
once they came across the not bad terrible lizards, they're like, we got to come up with something to differentiate these.
You
suckers.
got it, Brad.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
Tim, fastest you've ever seen a cheetah run?
74 miles an hour.
Wow.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
It was
Hey, Tim, Tom, you
ripping.
ready?
Yeah.
Go.
Okay.
Stop.
Okay.
How much time?
1.766.
Sheesh.
1.76.
He's so good.
He's so good.
You can't get me. Next up, vaccines or batteries?
Vaccines or batteries?
Any battery.
Modern batteries.
Okay, so not the first
So
battery.
you're
Correct.
AA, AAA, etc.
Yes.
I'm gonna go with batteries.
Modern batteries or vaccines. I mean, I know there's a polio vaccine in the 30s.
Yeah.
Salk, maybe the 20s and 30s. Modern batteries. That's such a tricky term. If we're talking AA's and AAA's, give
That's
me
what he just said?
vaccines. Give me vaccines.
Batteries, the first battery was invented in 1800
Oh, yeah,
by
I'm gonna-
Alessandro Volta.
I'm going to lose that one. then.
Yo, his last name was
But you could
Volta?
go to the store, Tim Time, and buy some double and AAA's in the 1800s.
You got to give me a little slack here.
Okay, all right.
Vaccines first developed in 1796.
And I still got it
by
right.
Edward Jenner, who was searching for a way to treat smallpox. Yep.
Right.
There you go. 4-year difference.
So I got it. I got it right anyway.
Last one.
Smallpox got me again.
Dishwashers or contact lenses?
Oh, contact lenses. Dishwashers or contact lenses. I mean,
Man,
whew.
this is a really tough one.
So there was a boom of products for the kitchen in the 1950s.
Okay.
After
right.
electricity became popular in homes.
Yep. Love that.
And then what was the other thing?
Contact
Contact
lenses.
lenses.
Contact
And
lenses.
people have eyes. So
Classically, they do.
They
I'm
do.
going,
We don't- what are you going
I'm
with?
going contact lenses.
Both of these, I bet you were within a year of each other.
This is a classic Tim Time. This is a classic Tim Time
Give
situation.
me dishwashers.
Contact lenses invented by William Feinblum, a New York optometrist, introduced in 1936.
Oh, I'm in trouble. You got it. Really?
Dishwashers. 1886.
No.
Josephine Garris Cochran went on to found KitchenAid.
Okay.
How
so
about that?
Tim Time, I think he's a master of time, but I'm not sure I trust his descriptors because in my head I was thinking the domestic dishwasher that you plug into a wall, which
The first
couldn't have been invented.
dishwashing machine.
The first dishwashing machine.
There
I
you
got
go.
It.
Oh,
Thank
I got
Tim
you.
Time.
So,
Thank you, Tim
Hey,
Time.
Tim Time, real quick. Go.
yep. Okay, and I have no more.
Stop.
Okay,
How long?
that was 2.7.
It was way longer than that. It was so much
He's
longer than that.
good.
Nope, time it. Chet, we'll roll it back.
We'll roll it back.
Can
You
you
guys,
get-
I know you got a show to do.
Can we
so
get you?
You can't get me now because you have a show to do. Trust me, I know the time, and I'm late. Okay, so
All right.
I must go. Thank you guys for having me.
See ya.
Thanks, Tim Time. That was weird, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Sheesh.
I kind of liked it.
This is Who, What, When, an hour of history, games, and trivia on South Carolina Public Radio. I'm Daniel Thompson.
And I'm Brandon Gray. Don't forget that you can join us on a future episode at a later time. All you got to do is give us a call, 803-470-6347, or you can send us an email, whowhatwhen at scpublicradio.org.
Today's contestant, Henry, is still on the line with
Wow.
us. He won our first 2 rounds this hour and has a chance to win the title of Who, What, When Champion of the
We
Week.
had to sit through Tim Time?
He had to sit through Tim Time, if
Crazy.
you can believe it. And he better win this fanny pack. He's got a chance. Who, what, win fanny pack, Brand?
Yeah, and to do that, here's what he's going to have to do. We got one more game. It is a little game we call History or His Story.
Here's how this works, Henry. I'm going to tell you 3 stories about Famous First. 2 of them are real. One of them is made up completely by me.
Yep.
It's my story. You'll have a chance to ask questions after each story and chat with Bran a little bit.
I'll give you some help.
And then you'll have to tell us which one of these stories is a lie. That's how we play History or His Story.
I love it. I'm excited for it. Dano, how about you get started with that first story?
First story starts right now. We're going to talk about the first food ever made in a microwave.
Let's go.
So electric tabletop ovens that are a staple for most American homes haven't been around for more than about a century. In the 1920s, scientists began developing vacuum tube radio transmitters, and these tubes made further research possible regarding high-frequency radio waves for heating substances. By 1930, shortwave heat was being used in medical therapy on tissues, and then later, this heating became used to create the microwave by Bell Laboratories and metal plates. Percy Spencer in 1945, a self-taught engineer, was working for Raytheon at the time, testing magnetrons. You know all about those.
I
We
love a
don't have to get
magnetron.
that.
It's my favorite transformer.
While working near magnetrons, he noticed that his peanut butter candy in his pocket started to melt.
Uh-oh.
Seeing the correlation, Spencer immediately went to the store and bought some good old-fashioned popping corn.
Wow.
He placed the corn on the magnetron. Popcorn began to shoot out all over the place.
How about that?
Raytheon's engineers didn't believe Spencer about his initial test. After observing several other foods, Raytheon patented the invention, calling it the Radarange. The first microwave stood almost 6 feet tall, looked like a refrigerator, and cost $5,000, which is the equivalent of over $50,000 now.
A steal.
A steal. The power was unmatched even by today's microwaves. It could fully cook a potato in under 30 seconds. Yeah, absolutely stand next to that. Nothing will go wrong. The Radarange failed to take off. It was too pricey. The public feared the device, rightfully so, and it was Raytheon's biggest failure as a company. In the years to follow, Sharp Corporation would create a tabletop microwave, and by 1975, the sales of the microwave had passed that of gas ranges, and by 1997, they were in over 90% of U.S. homes. Popping corn, the first food ever popped in a microwave. That's the end of story number 1, Bran.
Well, I have a quick question before I kick it over to Henry. And you mentioned that they had a patent on this technology.
Yes.
Obviously, microwaves are around now by many different companies. Do you know what the workaround was to create the microwave without infringing on that patent?
I think, and I could be wrong here, so I don't want to have any callers or emailers write in, but I think that they altered the patented science like in a minuscule way to make their own patent.
Okay. All
I'm
right,
almost
fair
positive that that's the case.
Okay, fair enough. Henry, do
how
you have
you
any
feeling?
Yeah.
So I'm feeling pretty good about it. I think it's interesting that Raytheon would go on to be a tremendous defense contractor. But spent its early days, perfecting popcorn.
Yeah, of course.
I feel like this could be true because, even to this day, every microwave oven you see has a popcorn setting. I feel like it's just standard.
Standard.
It feels good to me.
Standard.
And it's never quite right, that popcorn button. It's kind of a useless button. Even on the bags, they say don't use the popcorn button.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, don't press it because it's going to mess it up.
They just needed to put something there.
They had to put something
They
there.
put popcorn.
Yeah.
Even Raytheon had a hard time with it.
Yeah. They were like, we can't. Yeah.
Even Raytheon. All right. That's the first story. We've got 2 more. Henry, you ready for story number 2?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. The first clown funeral.
Been there.
We all?
Yeah.
All right, so let me tell you about clown funerals. Honk, honk. Let me tell you about clown funerals. These are very specific events that were funerals for professional clowns. Now, that doesn't mean just a funeral. Our producer's laughing.
The
hard.
sound of balloons
That's right.
being made
Yeah.
for balloon animals.
Squeak, squeak. So, yes, but you're not wrong. Like
Bozo was a great clown.
Clowns in attendance as pallbearers, guests,
Squirting
clowns
water out of
performing
flowers.
at These are all things that were requested by the deceased that used to be a professional clown. I have to go all the way back to the ancient Romans for this story, Brent.
I thought
ancient
you might.
Romans believed that laughter at a funeral would placate the spirits of the dead and bring joy to the living. Clowns then take it to another level by trying to make a funny funeral for their clown friend. Let me tell you about Chip Darby.
Please do. Let's give it up for Chip, everybody.
Chip was born in Kansas in 1912, grew up in a traveling circus. Both parents were performers for Barnum and Bailey's circus. Dad was a clown, mom was a trapeze artist. In 1937, Chip became the lead clown in Barnum and Bailey's traveling troupe. He was called Bozo.
Oh, wow.
Chip became famous for his Bozo act and gained notoriety in the papers. By the 1950s, Bozo was the headliner of Barnum and Bailey's circus.
Wow.
When Chip decided to retire in 1960, Barnum and Bailey sold the rights to Bozo's name to Capitol Records, which proceeded to make an animated series called
How about
Bozo,
that?
the world's famous clown. From there, Bozo became syndicated on TV, with local Bozos showing up at local TV as licensed by Capitol Records, allowing each local market to have their own actor playing Bozo.
Yes.
In 1974, Chip Darby passed away, rest in peace, obviously, from throat cancer. In knowing his diagnosis, knowing he was probably terminal, Chip helped plan his own funeral. Drawing from the ancient Romans, he insisted on what we now know as the first of its kind, a clown funeral. All 6 pallbearers were clowns, 4 of which were friends that were professionals. 2 were his brothers that were dressed for the part. Funeral procession included 2 VW bugs carrying 7 clowns each. And are you all right?
That's great.
An ice cream truck and a bright pink hearse playing a different horn melodies throughout the procession. Are you going to be okay? Chip's entire family, wife and 4 children, all wore flowers on their lapels, squirting water on their dad's caskets before his burial.
Let's pour one out for Dad. Squirt, squirt.
The funeral made national news and became, for a brief moment in the 1970s, a tradition within the clowning profession. Chip Darby, everybody. That's story number 2. Bran, what do you think?
I want to, I know a clown. And the one thing that I've learned in my conversations with the clown that I know is how seriously clowns take clowning. And I can absolutely see a clown that has had as big of a career as Chip Darby and as much of a legacy as Chip does in the clowning community. I can totally see this being his funeral. This wouldn't surprise me one bit. My only hesitation, Henry, that I have is we all know Bozo. And so is Dan putting the name of the one clown that we all know into this story to trick us into thinking that this story is true? That's my thought process there. I don't know the answer, Henry, but that's kind of the one hesitation I have. What about you?
My feeling is that this story is just so fantastical that I don't feel as good about it being authentic. It seemed oddly detailed. I mean, a lot of how I feel about the third story is going to inform how I feel about this one.
That's how you know it's a good game right there. Sometimes the wildest stories are there to get you, and sometimes they're there because they can't be true. But the good news is Henry, before you have to make a decision, you do have a third story. Are we ready, Brand? Are we ready for story number 3? Famous first.
Hong Kong.
Here we go. Here we go. Story number 3, the first person to walk around the world.
Wow.
Let me introduce you to Dave Kunst. Shout out Dave Kunst.
Shout out.
Chip Darby and Dave Kunst, good friends.
They're great friends.
Born in 1939 in Minnesota, Kunst would, after much trial and tribulation, complete the task of walking around the world with proof. When Kunst was 30 years old in 1970, he decided he was tired of Waseca, Minnesota. I think that's how you say that. Tired of his job and tired of a lot of little people who don't want to think. His quote, not mine. He decided to walk around the world. Kunst started from his hometown in Waseca, Minnesota, with a scroll to be signed along the way by officials in every major city, $1,000 in his pocket, and a mule to carry his camping supplies. The mule's name? Willie Make It.
Nice.
Willie Make It.
No notes, Dave.
That's
no
the,
notes.
That's the Kunst. If Kunst and Darby aren't both real, a hero died today. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Willie Make It was his mule. Dave's brother, John, began the journey with him. They walked all the way to New York City and then flew across the Atlantic to Portugal, where they purchased a second mule. Don't have the name of that one. They walked across Europe, visiting some royalty in Monaco and Italy along the way. During their travels, they asked people to donate to UNICEF, which is the United Nations Children's Fund, for those unfamiliar. These donations seemed like a great idea, but one reporter covering the story mistakenly claimed that the Kuntz brothers were carrying the donations with them.
Oh, no.
So in October of 1972, the brothers were attacked in Afghanistan by bandits in the mountains that believed they had cash on them. Dave's brother John was shot and killed.
No!
Dave was shot in the chest as well, but survived by playing dead.
Wow.
Dave was rushed home to Minnesota to recover. So did he walk around the world? Don't worry, Brand, because after 4 months of recovering, Dave Kuntz, along with his other brother, Peter Kuntz, was flown back to Afghanistan, to the very spot where his brother was killed, and he began to walk again. Dave and Peter were denied access to the Soviet Union because of the Cold War, so they walked all the way through India, flew to Australia. At this point, Peter, his brother, returned home. Dave walked alone. During the Australia portion of the trip, Dave's mule died, R.I.P. Willie would not make it, and Dave was hauling his own wagon of supplies himself. About to abandon his supplies and continue forth with nothing, he met a girl named Jenny on the road. She pulled his supplies in her car while he walked alongside the car, allowing him to finish walking through Australia, flying to California, and finishing the trek back home to Minnesota. Dave walked approximately 20 million steps, wore out 21 pairs of shoes. He returned to Australia a year later after he completed his trek, met back up with Jenny, and they're still married and alive today.
Oh, man.
That's the end of story number 3.
Where the heck is that Hallmark movie?
Bran.
That sounds wonderful.
What are you thinking?
What a story. An absolute inspiration.
That's right.
Dave is. I can't believe this story would be false. If it's false, I don't want to. I don't even want to talk anymore. I'm going to be done for the day because I want to believe that there are people out there, Dan, that come up with stuffed crust, that are willing to walk around the world, that are willing to look death in the eye and say, "No, sir, not today."
Yeah.
In 4 months, I will come back and continue to walk. I think it's a beautiful story and one that inspires me to do something.
Who do you want to hang out with the most? Do you want to hang out with Percy Spencer, Chip Darby, or Dave Kuntz?
Well, since you said Dave's still alive, I'll go with him. I don't really want to hang out with a dead guy. I already did that, so don't ask. So I'm gonna go with Dave.
Okay, Henry, did that help or hurt you there?
It was just a story about the triumph of the human spirit.
Right?
And
That's right, Henry.
I feel uplifted. It's the kind of story that I would read over my morning coffee every day, and that would just get me, up and moving and heave me off my chair so I can take on the world. You know what I mean?
Take on the world. That's right.
I want that story to be true so much that I am choosing to believe it.
Wow.
I love that.
He wants
That's
it so much he's
beautiful.
going to manifest it. So, Henry, you've told me you think that the Kuntz story is true. So does that mean you're going with Chip Darby as Bozo the Clown, or you're going with Percy Spencer Popcorn on the Magnetron?
Which one do you think it is made up?
My BS detector is leaning towards saying that our clown tale is the one that is false. So that's what I'm going to go with.
All right.
He's going to go with Chip Darby, the clown story, as false. Bran, do you like that line of reasoning?
I like that reasoning, and I think if push came to shove and I was in the race for the fanny pack, I think I would go with the exact same story.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. It's unanimous. That's right. Some clown haters.
It's not. I'm not a clown hater. It is my love of clowns.
That's right.
I think that is.
Send them in.
It doesn't. It doesn't come from a place of hate.
No.
Let's get the first one out of the way. That's true. Percy Spencer, popcorn on the microwave. It just makes too much sense.
Yes.
Right? It just has to be true. So let's get down to it. Dave Kuntz, walking around the world, brother dying, continuing to move forward after being shot in the chest, marrying the woman that helped him in Australia, getting all the way back home, indomitable human spirit. That story is true.
Yeah.
The story's true.
All right.
Chip Darby, stuff of legends. Here's what I'll say about your boy Chip Darby. The guy that originally played Bozo the Clown's name is Robert Louis Bell. He did not die of throat cancer, nor did he have or start clown funerals. That is all.
So that's still up for grabs.
Shout out to me for writing the funeral procession, which made you laugh.
So, but clown funerals, they're
still up for grabs.
You could start a new thing.
The only part of that story that's true is Capitol Records did own Bozo the Clown and allow people to play it in different markets, and they made all the money. Aside from that, Chip Darby, Clown Funeral, all of that's made up. And you know what? Shout out to Henry from New Jersey, but living in Columbia. He snuffed it out, and he earned the Who What When fanny pack.
Amazing, Henry. Now that you have this all to yourself, this fanny pack, what are you going to do with it? How are you going to celebrate?
I'm not a fanny pack wearer. They're a little oppressive. You know what I mean?
Wow.
I think this will just be. I think I'll create like a trophy, some sort of display for it, just as a way of reminding myself that I'm a keeper of mostly useless knowledge.
But it's useful here on Who What When. I think that's what's important. Henry, thank you so much for joining us all episode long this week on Who What When.
Hey, thanks for having me.
And we've reached the end of the first episode of Who What When for the new year.
Wow.
Thanks to our contestants Henry and Gina for playing with us today, and congratulations to Henry for coming out on top this week.
That's right. Our producer is A.T. Shire. Our executive producer is Sean Birch, who hopes to be the first person to be both a contestant and a clue on Jeopardy!
This show is a production of South Carolina Public Radio and is made possible in part by listener contributions to the ETV Endowment of South Carolina.
If you want to be a contestant on Who What When, give us a call, 803-470-6347, or send us an email to whowhatwhen@scpublicradio.org.
You can find out more on the show and listen to the episode again at our website, southcarolinapublicradio.org/whowhatwhen.
You can also subscribe to Who What When wherever you listen to podcasts, or you can listen through your smart speaker. All you got to say is, hey, play Who What When.
I'm Daniel Thompson.
And I'm Brandon Gray. Join us next week for more history, games, and trivia right here on Who What When.